For anyone who tunes in, if you ever notice me taking a pause before um, starting to talk, it's because I'm usually waiting for the Zoom and the YouTube to sync in. So on my end, I'm only able to see like it's loading up on YouTube. So I'm never usually sure of when to actually start talking. But bear with me if you ever tune into this video and you find it weird that I'm just silent, I'm not talking. It's because I'm literally, when I have something in my hair, I'm literally waiting for everything to load up. I'm like 5 minutes late, but I'm here. So yay, I'm excited. Made it to the live. This is exciting because I have so much I want to talk about today. It's gonna be good, good, good. Okay. So before I get started, I always start by introducing myself for anyone who's tuning in right now. Maybe you're just wondering, who is this girl? Who is this person on my screen right now? Just talking. Well, my name is Eva. I'm an intuitive healer, energetic healer. So I do work with the Akashic Records and quantum flow methodology, brilliant methods which have been so amazing, especially on my healing journey. And if you want to know more, and maybe you're tuning in right now, you can just go to the About section. Otherwise, I'm going to be leaving a link to all of that in case you're curious about my work in the description box. Once the live is fully uploaded on YouTube, then you can check out my work. And I'm actually running an offer right now, an Easter offer, where I'm going to be giving you a 30% discount for any service you book with me. You can book a soul element reading. Um, Check out the links down below. The prices are not reflective of their 30% discount. So I will send you a special payment link with the 30% discount reflected in case you're interested. If you have more questions on this, maybe you're curious what soul element is, what quantum flow is, and all of that, you can go ahead and just book a discovery call with me or connect with me on Facebook or Instagram on Messenger and just ask any questions. And I'm always happy to respond to you. So yeah, but I'm going to be sharing more on this, what these two modalities are and how they can just 10x your life at the end of this live. I'm not going to go down to that right now. Right now, I'm just talking about, this week and the new reflections that I'm tapping into. It's so funny because I always think that I already know it all, when your ego steps in and wants to convince you, like, I already know that, right? And then any moment I tap into, it's like I unlock the next level of my realizations, like more new things I can tap into, more new things I didn't even know about myself. So that's where I'm finding myself in the month of April 2024. And it's been an incredible couple of, 3 days. We're in April 3rd. Hope everyone who's tuning in is watching me on April 3rd, but if not, whatever. But I'm actually shooting this live on April 3rd. Okay. It's interesting. I normally have this practice, right? At the end of the month, I have to reflect on, I track so many areas of my life, health, different habits I'm trying to integrate into my being. I track everything, by the way. Like that's me. Because when I track, I'm able to see my progress throughout the months, throughout the days. I can be able to actually have a concrete idea of where I currently am on different areas of my life. So where I'm not paying too much attention to, where I need to put more energy into. So if you have like a tracker, for me, I normally do it through an Excel. So an Excel that I got from a certain course that I took called Lifebook, and they shared with us an Excel called Secret Choices. So it's like 12 habits that you can track within a day that you commit to doing daily. So every day, once you hit a goal or a task, you just give yourself a tick on the Excel. That's what I normally do. So every end of month, I normally do that. And then that helps me be able to determine, I still have something in my hair. I don't know what that is, but the consequences of being live, but whatever. Um, anytime you like track yourself, um, right? Then once you have awareness of where you struggled in the last month, then you can make new intentions or create new intentions or create new goals for yourself for the next month or where you're gonna put most of your focus at. I'm still in the process of doing mine. I haven't tapped in yet. I just have an idea of what I want to tap into this month. But something came about based on the last live I did last time. So if you checked it out, And I shared that last week. I went through an interesting couple of days where we were just in a total blackout. And it was just our particular house in the couple of houses around us. We were experiencing a blackout, and everyone else had electricity. It was just a small electrical fault, but it took the company that normally handles that like more than a day. So the first day they were like maintaining the electricity for the entire neighborhood in a couple of other neighborhoods. And then the second day, it was just our particular section that didn't have electricity. So we had to go through over it was actually almost 3 days of literally no electricity. Right. And it was such a weird experience because it was a mix of emotion. One day I'm in a total state of trust and surrender and like, just joking around and laughing at the experience and how everyone, like a couple of people around me were freaking out and all of that. And the second day now I started getting like pissed off because, they kept on giving us empty promises, which was really annoying because you're expecting the lights to come back and they didn't. And it really like messed up because it was like a downtime because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't be online. I couldn't share any posts. Like it was just literally no computer, no phone, no internet, no nothing. Just me, darkness, and my thoughts, you know. But what came about for me, which is what I want to share right now, is I realized that I was asking myself, like, why was it so uncomfortable for me to just be silent or stay in silence for just a couple of days, like downtime? I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to do anything. It's just me alone with my thoughts and all of that. And I realized that even now, whenever I'm tapping into whatever it is I'm tapping into, and I'm just checking here on live because it hasn't loaded up on YouTube yet. So I don't know if there's anyone tuning in and watching me live right now, but if there isn't, it's all good. But anyway, I digress. So I was asking myself the question, why was that particular state so uncomfortable for me? Just to sit in silence with my thoughts. I do that normally, but I only do that when I'm tapping into meditation or I'm doing my quantum flow or breathwork exercises for the day. I can sit in silence. But funny thing is that I only do that complete state of silence and whatever. I'm only able to tap that into that when there is music on, right? So it's just me sitting alone. Either I'm listening to a meditation, a guided meditation that's telling me or guiding me on what to, how to direct my thoughts, which is what I normally do. I love guided meditations. I'm starting to currently tap into, the silent meditation where it's just the music playing in the background and you're just alone with your thoughts and just being observant of what comes through for you. So I'm currently working on that, or I've been working on that this entire year. But I realized that I have such like dependence on all of this technology, all of these things, the music, the YouTube, all of that, the phone, like there's always something to distract me. So rarely do you actually ever find me alone with my thoughts, only when I'm like super intentional with it. So again, meditation, quantum flow, or I'm journaling. But usually when I'm doing that, there's something still playing in the background, right? Like there's some music or something I'm tapping into. So it also like when I'm going around doing certain chores in the house, cooking, whatever it is, there's always something playing in the like in my environment. So either I'm listening to a podcast episode on YouTube or I'm watching a TV show or something or a movie, just something in my periphery. Like it's never complete silence when I'm tapping into the task. Okay. So I do also like make it a point that during the day, I do have periodic times that I just tap into mindfulness. So like I set out a timer every 30 minutes. Within that time, I when the bell rings, I have to just sit. Whatever I'm doing, I stop. I sit, I ground myself, I tap into gratitude and to visualization, right? For whatever state I'm trying to manifest at that point. So I've been doing that for a couple of months. So that's how I normally practice mindfulness. But again, just being fully present with whatever task I'm doing, I rarely do that. And that is why when the lights went off, it was so uncomfortable for me to be in that kind of silence and not doing anything. So it's kind of like I've gotten used to the state of doingness, and I've kind of like lost touch with the whole aspect of beingness. Okay. I don't know if you're watching this and you actually understand what I'm saying, but if you don't, you can comment with me down below or in the chat if you're tuning right now. But I hope you understand what I'm talking about. And this is basically what has inspired my new action for this month. Okay. My new commitment, which now I'm still figuring out on how I'm gonna go about it. But I got this inspired idea of like, instead of waiting for the universe or the utility company to force that state on me, why don't I actually intention to take out a full day with no gadgets on? So that means that whether there's electricity or not, I'm not on phone, I'm not on computer, everything is off. I'm not reading a book, which is something else I normally do, right? So if in case of all of these things happening, maybe like this downtime, I normally have a novel at hand and I'm just reading. So again, not able to just tap into that state of beingness. There's always something to distract me from connecting to that, unless I'm being intentional. So I'm gonna do that experiment, There's I want to start with just one day because I don't know if I can commit fully for like every week I'm going to be doing that. But we'll see based on the first day because I'm not sure how that's going to go about. And at least I'm lucky, right? Because I'm self-employed, right? So I can just shut everything down, block out the time on my calendar and just have that downtime for myself. I'm lucky that I'm able to do that. I don't know about for you how that would work out because I'm assuming if you're watching me, you're probably like um working for someone or you have so many commitments. So being able to do that for yourself might be difficult, which I understand. So you can kind of like play around with it even if it's just taking like 2 or 3 hours in your daytime or your nighttime just to spend being by yourself, just sitting alone and doing nothing. No books, no music, just you alone with your thoughts. I think the only thing that I'm going to bring about into that is just a journal and a pen because you need to be aware of what comes up for you and why that idea of being alone with your thoughts might be scary for you. For a lot of people, I know this is very radical. That's why I call the title of this particular video a radical approach to stillness. Most people are not able to be alone with their thoughts. They're so scared of what goes on in their mind because it feels as if their mind is running the show and always judging them. That nagging voice that's judging you, that's judging others, that's thinking about the past, that's worrying, that's in doubt, all of that. A lot of people are in fear of that. They're not able to sit with their thoughts or their emotions because they're so uncomfortable. So it's always easy to reach for that thing outside of you to help distract you or numb that for yourself. So for me, for a long time, even though I've been doing the mindfulness and all of that, the meditation, which helps. So if you haven't done meditation, this could be uncomfortable for you. So don't try this. This is something that I've been building towards. So I'm able to really master my thoughts and emotions. Because I use a lot of techniques to help me, be aware that certain thoughts are not coming from me, are actually coming from my ego, and to be able to tap out of that. So if you've never done that, it might feel uncomfortable for you. So don't try it. But you can try it. You never know. And just watch for what comes up for you, and just start building that connection with your inner self. And remember that any kind of thought that comes up for you, any kind of emotion that comes for you that just does not feel good, is usually from your ego. It does not come from your inner spirit, your higher self, your soul. It doesn't come from that. Because the soul only knows one state, and that's just unconditional love, nothing else. Your soul does not judge you before you decided to take alcohol instead of meditating yesterday. Your soul will not be like, now look at you and how you're pretending to be all, mindful and all, and you normally do. If you hear that voice coming up for you, that's not your spirit. Your spirit does not judge. So I will advise like just taking just a couple, even if it's not 3 hours or something, that's extreme. Even if it's just 30 minutes, Just start with 30 minutes and shut everything down. You're not talking to anyone. You're not listening to music. You're not on your phone. You're not doing anything. You're not reading a book. It's just you alone with a journal and a pen, and watch what comes up for you. And just record. Then you'll start building awareness of that connection with self and really tapping into higher guidance for yourself. Because one thing I strongly believe in is that a lot of the things that we are currently facing in this reality we're in right now, they could be solved if people had that inner connection with their higher self and had connection to this other side. So connection to the higher self, their soul, who's running the show, and being able to tune into that guidance on what actions or how to show up in the world. If a lot of people were tapping into that, then I think we'll let go of all the negative states that we're currently in. I do recognize that there is a purpose for all of these things, the evilness that exists in the world, because there is a purpose for that. There's a reason why we need darkness in order for us to tap into our light. That's just the world we live in, the physical reality we live in. So that's okay. But if a lot of people had that inner connection to self to guide their path, then they'll stop looking around for other people to tell them who they are. They'll stop looking around for compare themselves to other people and wonder, why not am I like this? Why is that person like that? And tapping into ideas of envy, of comparison, of competition, and all of that. If you have that connection to inner self and you have like a higher perspective of what your path is, I find that the way you show up in the world will completely change. The way you interact with people will completely change. There will be no need for violence, for attacks, for trolling, for all those kind of things that you can think about because you'll be fully involved with your higher self and what you're co-creating with your higher self, okay? So this practice that I'm talking about right now, this will be a beautiful way for you to start tapping into that. Just connection with self. Because you know what happens now when you start doing that and start opening yourself up for that connection with your higher self, you're giving permission for whatever needs to come through you to come through you with ease, grace, and flow, okay? The thing with any kind of spiritual assistance, from your guides, from your angels, from God or source, whatever you tap into, one thing you don't know about them is that they will never interfere with your free will, ever. The one gift you've been given in this physical reality is free will to create anything that you want to experience. So if at all your idea of your experience is I have to figure everything out on my own, I'm gonna do this and this and this, like you fully tap into your ego rational mind. And that's the experience you're tapping into when thinking that I have to go at it alone and no one can tell me anything. Then that's the reality you create, and your spiritual resource will never interfere with that. They'll just stand by the sideline and watch what you create for yourself. And for most people, when they do that, you find that even when they reach a certain level of success where they have everything that you can ever imagine for, it never satisfies them because they feel like a certain kind of luck that comes from deep within them because they went about it the wrong way. They thought that, now that I'm in this physical reality and the physical reality demands that success will only be felt if have the best number of cars, this kind of spouse, this kind of house, this kind of job, this kind of title, this kind of money in the bank, right? And they work so hard, like they have the best implemented strategies of how to get all of this. And then they get all of that. And then they realize that they feel so empty inside. And this is actually something that I watched just yesterday that this Will Smith was actually, I just saw a reel on Facebook, I think. He was saying that he wishes that everyone could get to experience that state of having everything where you don't feel any kind of lack. And then you get there and then you realize that this is not what life is about. Like, I have everything. He was saying in that video, like, I have everything. I lack for nothing, but I still feel empty inside. And he was wishing that a lot of people could actually get to that state so that they realize it's not everything about life. So if at all how you're going through or going about life is thinking that this and this and this implementing the strategies, the goals according to what society or your ego mind tells you and not flowing or co-creating together with source or or your guides or your higher self, you'll find that usually, yes, you will manifest that level of success and all of that, but there'll be a certain level of emptiness because you'll miss that connection with God. So God, that connection with self, with your higher self, with source, the creator of everything, that's so, so essential in how you operate in the world. And that's why I'm doing this current exercise, this radical approach of just taking a full day. I'm not going to interact with the outside world. It's just going to be me alone with my thoughts and see what comes up for that. Okay. It'll be an interesting experiment. And you know why I'm doing this? It's because when I thought or I had an idea that I could do this, there was a certain, there was excitement in, ooh, I want to see what comes out of this experience and what new state I'm able to tap into. But there's also that little bit of my mind going like fear. Like that's scary because I've never done that before unless it's forced upon me. You know, when there's no electricity, like the entire, maybe there's a blackout in the entire neighborhood and they're just waiting for people to maintain the lights. That is forced upon you, right? But usually, even on those times, I still have a bit of power on my phone, a bit of power on my computer. I have a book. So I have something to keep me busy, never alone with my thoughts unless I'm actually meditating. But right now it's like forced um disconnection with all of this and see what comes after that and just write about it. And I'm gonna tell you about it in hopefully in my next live if I'm actually able to do it tomorrow, because I'm planning to do it tomorrow. And we'll see what comes out of that, you know. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about today is also that whole thing about being available for your higher guidance. So remember, I was saying your spiritual resource will never interfere with you unless you actually request for their assistance. So if at all you're so focused on, I'm gonna figure everything out on my own, they will let you figure everything out on your own. For sure, they will never interfere with you. It's only when you sit down and say, God, angels, my guides, I need help. That's the only point they actually step in, or even your higher self. That's the only point they step in and try to just guide you to the right person, guide you to the right experience to help you experience whatever it is that you desire. But if you feel like I can figure things out, remember you're still a divine being in your own right. So it does not take away from your power in any way, sense of way. When you say I'll have to figure things out on my own, you're a divine creator of your own reality. So you can literally choose to go your entire life without connection to the other side. But only thing that you do with that is just make things so difficult and so hard for yourself. And again, like I was saying, you'll get to a point where you'll just feel empty on the inside once you manifest all these things that you're calling in. So it's just to make sure that connection with your higher self is there and intact. And I'm going to share an experience with you, you know. When I did, I'm sharing an experience regarding being available to that. So once you ask for your help, for the help, or for that connection with your higher self or your guides of God, you also have to be available to receive it. But again, if you're constantly distracting yourself with all these external things, you'll never be available for that connection when it comes through because your attention will always be on other things. And when I share an experience with you of how I finally tapped into what it is that I wanted to do with my life. So many people will call that my purpose, right? But I'm coming to realize that your purpose is not just one thing. It can be one particular passion you choose to focus on, but you can experience yourself like for example, I'm just giving an example. If I say like my passion is or my purpose is dance, there's so many ways you can actually bring that into reality. So it's not simple as I'm just gonna wake up and dance. You know, you're allowing for the co-creation of so many experiences and expanding more and more of who you are when you tap into your passion as a dancer. So you could say my passion or my purpose is to dance. How am I gonna go about it? Maybe you'll say I'm gonna go for several competitions and just dance my heart out. I'm gonna open a YouTube channel where I'm just going to be sharing different dance moves I'm tapping into. I'm going to create a course where I'm going to be teaching people how to dance. There's so many ways you can go about it, right? So it's not just as simple as this is my passion and dance is it. Like there's so many ways you can allow yourself to experience yourself in that. So for me, for such a long time, and I'm using dance because dance has always been my biggest passion in life. It's what I wanted to do from the time I was a child. I loved dance. I really did. And for a long time, I was 100% sure that becoming a dance choreographer was my perfect life until I finished high school and then reality hit me in the face and I realized it was a lost cause. And I kind of like lost my passion for it. And it was such a long time before I got my passion for it again. And I actually got it because of quantum flow. And I'll be sharing more on that later on. But my entire life, I was always looking for that path. You know, that thing you just find and you just feel like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I was always looking for that my entire life. I didn't know what it was. Okay, so I kept on asking and asking and asking until I gave up on asking because nothing was coming through. I started my corporate job, right? 8 whole years asking, 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 and nothing is coming through. In 2021, beginning of 2021, there's a certain course I registered for, paid a lot of money for it, and it promised that it was going to help me find my passion and help me find a way to make an income from my passion. So originally, when I was registering for that course, I 100% thought that I was going to try to figure out how to bring back my dance as my passion and how I was going to make money from it. I didn't know how yet, but still, there was still this kind of like conflict with it. I don't know what to call it. Okay. So that was beginning of 2021. And by the way, do you know I never even finished that course? Because for me, honestly, it did nothing for me. For other people, they got great results, and I'm happy for them. For me, it did nothing because it wasn't able to bring that spark within me. And I got that spark, first of all, when I started working with energy. When I discovered quantum flow, I used to think like, oh, quantum flow is something I could tap into, but I wasn't really into quantum flow, right? Because I really didn't understand what it was. I just thought it was, okay, I can tap into that, right? So all along, I was using my mind to figure out what my passion or my purpose was. And that's why I was like, I'm going to register for that course because that course promised I'm going to do something. Or sometimes I'll just look around and see like, oh, I'm interested in making money. So how can I teach people how to make money? Like I delved or tried to double with so many things, but nothing was bringing that spark that inside of me where I was like, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. Nothing was I was tapping into was able to help me connect to that. Now, my passion, finally, that thing I found and I was like, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. It finally found me with the Akashic Records. I just discovered the Akashic Records and I became so obsessed with it. And I knew I wanted to train on how I was gonna like work with the Akashic Records because I discovered that there was a way I could use it to help so many people. Because the one thing that I really wanted to do was understand who I was and why I was showing up in the world the way I was showing up, and also understand the people around me, which is a passion that I actually had way from childhood. I've always had this deep desire to figure the people around me and maybe to help you in case you're struggling with something to be able to actually guide you properly. And the Akashic Records was it for me. And I can't even, I wish I could even demonstrate to you like where that spark came from. But I remember just watching my now teacher talk on the webinar, and I just knew it in my heart. This is it. And do you know how that came about? I never even knew this person ever existed. I just saw an advert on Facebook asking to register for a webinar. And I was like, oh, this sounds so cool. And I just registered. And within 2 minutes or 5 minutes of watching that webinar, I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And that spark was there. And that spark has never gone. But it has evolved to so much more. So it's no longer about the Akashic records. I've expanded on that. I still know I want to work with Akashic Records. I still know I want to work with energy, which is what I do with quantum flow. But it has become so much more. Never in a million years did I ever see myself doing this kind of work. Being on YouTube, being on Facebook, being on Instagram, writing posts, talking like this. I never in a million years thought I could ever do this. So I've expanded on that. I've expanded on creating a course. and I'm still expanding, I'm still evolving because it's a learning process. It's a the process of growing and evolving never stops. So you can always expand on so much more. So it's not as simple as saying like, oh, cooking is it for me, so I'm just gonna be cooking for the rest of my life and that's my passion. There's so much more you can tap into with that. The reason why I'm giving this example of that, it took me how many years to come up with that? From birth until 2021, when I found the Akashic Records, when I found Quantum Flow. It took me all those years for me to finally find my passion. So what was blocking me before, not that I wasn't asking for it, I was asking for it. I was waiting with anticipation, like, what is my passion? What is my passion? What is my purpose? And all of that. I kept asking and asking and asking. So I'm sharing this with you because maybe you might be stuck there. Maybe you've been asking God or your angels or whatever to reveal what that path is for you. And you're still trying to figure out what's going on. Like, why isn't this answer coming up about? And I realized the other day that the reason why the answers were not there is because I was distracted by the outside world. I was stuck in the negative emotions. Remember my mental and emotional state is something that I struggled with a lot growing up. So much anger, so much lack of forgiveness for the people who had hurt me in the past, so much disappointment, so much frustration, so much. Think of any negative emotions, like that is where I was stuck. So that was my distraction. So, as much as my higher self wanted to come through and talk to me, even if they revealed to me that the Akashic Records was it for me, I couldn't be able to pursue that because my entire focus was on the external reality. I never took time to go within myself. So because I had been, when I started now working on myself, meditation, taking all these courses and all of that, quantum flow, because remember, quantum flow helps you rewire and release all this trauma and emotions stuck within your body. So it's not just about working on your mind, you have to release all that pain from your body as well. And a lot of these modalities that most people talk about, they rarely like, I think quantum flow is the only one, quantum flow and maybe breathwork, that I've seen that literally also focus on your body and your mind as well and helping you rewire all these things. When I started tapping into quantum flow and really now releasing all this stuckness, all these things within my nervous system that were still keeping me connected to my past, that's the only way now my higher self, I could really be able to tune into what came next for me. And that's how my purpose found me. I didn't find my purpose found me because I was ready to receive that. So if you're not tapping into that, what your next step is, you really have to get raw and real with yourself in where are you getting distracted in your life right now. It could be from your emotions, from your mental state, from how you show up in the world, from your external environment. If you're constantly distracted with all this noise on the internet, listening to gossip, the negative news and all of that, if you're constantly, your attention is away from your inner self, you'll never be able to tune in. So you have to walk away from the distraction, ask for guidance on what your next step is, and be available to receive it. If you're not available, it's going to come knocking on your door, but you're not there to open the door, receive that. So ask yes, be available to it, get rid of the distraction. So can you picture like someone coming and knocking on your door? You're expecting a visitor to come in, right? But when the visitor is coming in, you have your music blast out, like you're like just having a party in your home. You won't be able to hear that soft knock on your door, right? And that person will be like, okay, this person is either not in or not able to hear me, and I can't waste my time here. So I'm gonna go away until the point they're ready to, open the door. And that's what happens with higher guidance. If you're not available to open the door, it will just leave and reconnect with you the next time you're available. And where does the distraction come? So again, it comes from your internal self and also external environment. So it's not only just external. So you can get rid of all these external distractions, but still, if internally you're still stuck on the past and the people who hurt you in the past, on the mistakes you made in the past, on worrying about what the future holds for you and all of that, constantly distracting yourself with that, then your inner guidance will never be able to come through for you. And that's why I was talking about this cultivating that inner state of being available, letting go of all this distraction and just sitting alone with yourself and your thoughts and see what comes up for you from that. Even if it's negative, write it down. Because now you'll have like a different perspective of, oh, why on earth do I think maybe I look ugly? Why do I judge myself? Why do I think I'm not enough? Why do I think I'm not worthy? Now you start questioning that. And then the answers now will start coming through because you're asking the question. And once you ask, you have to receive. Because now you're available to receive. Now you'll be told, oh, you think you're not enough because maybe when I was a child, my mother or my father said something and just triggered that response for me. Okay, and now you start asking the question, what was going on with my mother and my father at that point? And then now you listen for what comes next. Again, your next step will never be made available to you if you're not available to it in the first place. The next example I can give to you is that when I did my first live last month, the one thing that there was a period of time I was kind of like, I felt a bit lost, like a couple of days after doing that. Because I was wondering, what's my next step? I was searching moments. I was asking and asking and asking, what's my next step? What's my next step? And nothing was coming. So it was kind of like I did the YouTube live and it was like, okay, now I've done everything. I have nothing else new I can tap into. Right. And I was really stressing about it. Like, okay, what else do you want me to do? Like higher stuff, like guide me. Like, what's the next step? I was really focused on that. Kept on asking, and nothing new was coming up for me. For like a whole week, nothing was coming because my entire focus was like, I'm expecting something to show up for me because there's always like the next step available. And this is what have also inspired my current radical new step of being still and stopping the doingness and just tapping into the beingness. It's that you have to let go of control. Do you know like what trust and surrender means? And not trying to control the process so much and letting life unfold for you as it should. That takes a lot. I'm still figuring that out. So when I'm sharing this, this is something that I'm still working on. And I'll let you know once I have it concretely written, like I've figured this state out. Been a work in progress for a couple of years right now. So I'm still working on it. I still haven't embodied that. But sometimes what came up for me is that sometimes you just have to take a break. Stop being busy, doing, being busy, being busy. That's the term I had from Robin Sharma. Being busy, but actually not doing anything productive in the end. So sometimes you have to take a break from all of that and tap into stillness and mindfulness. And this is where meditation is such a powerful practice, right? When you tap into that, then once you've let go of all that control, then your inner guidance is able to come through for you. Without that, when you're constantly trying, remember when we're in that state of, I gotta figure out what my next step is and all of that, that's usually coming from your ego trying to control the process. And remember, we don't want to be tapped into our ego, right? Because your ego, yes, it's your ego is built to always figure out solutions to our problems that don't even exist. So when you're constantly tapped into that ego kind of like mindset, yes, you're gonna find solutions, but probably not solutions which are aligned to your highest self. So yes, you're gonna find yourself being busy, yes, doing a bunch of things, exhausting yourself in the process, and then in the end, you're just gonna get somewhere and be like, I've done all these things and nothing is working out. Yeah, you are doing all these things, but you're not connected to your highest self is actually guiding the show. And you're doing so many unnecessary things that you really did need to tap into. And all you had to do was just chill out. Literally, that's what came up for me. Just chill. Stop worrying so much. Everything is gonna work out. So take a break. So for you, if a whole day is something you can commit to, literally start small. I always advise anyone who's tapping into something that they've never done, don't start and just go to the extreme, right? You gotta build to that. Okay. And I shared this in a previous life that, if you wanna maybe be a boxer or something, you don't start out by boxing Mike Tyson or Floyd Mayweather. You have to train to be able to get into the ring with those people. Otherwise, they're just gonna beat you up, right? You have to train. There's a reason why we train, to allow for that to happen. So your training could be, even if it's just 10 minutes, shut everything down. I'm going to start with 10 minutes and then build on that. And once you master the state of 10 minutes, you go to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So remember, when I'm saying like I'm actually thinking about tapping into a whole day of nothing. It's something that I've built into. A couple of years back, even like 10, 15 minutes of meditation seemed like such a struggle. I could not shut my mind down for 10 minutes. It was a struggle for me. But I've done it and done it over and over again. And I've built that over time, from 20 minutes expanded to 1 hour to 2 hours to 3 hours, like that. And it's easy for me to start to sit in that stillness. And this is why I'm doing this, because now this is my next step. It was only available because A, I was asking for it. B, I'm available to it. 3, I'm willing to take that action. You also have to be willing to take the action, whatever comes through for you. Because now here's where people get stuck. Yes, you're going to get the intuitive guidance, but when your rational mind steps in and starts reasoning things like, oh, I can't do that. And then you come up with 1,000 reasons why you can't tap into this, you're going to be stuck there for a very long time. I'll give you an example for me. Like for the whole of last year, I was just working on my landing page and working on creating my ad, and I was just stuck on that for such a long time because I had a lot of feelings of, imposter syndrome, lack of worthiness, lack of all those things. I was still working through, and that took a lot of time for me to release. Constant contorting with that, working on quantum flow, breathwork, mindfulness, all that. I was doing so many things, and it took such a long time for me to release that for myself, for me to actually take the step of advertising myself on Facebook, putting myself out there. I couldn't do it. But the minute I did that, that's when the next step was available to me. But it was never, ever, ever available to me because I was still stuck on that one action that I had been guided to do, but I was holding myself back from doing it. So you might actually have the next step available to you, but because you've not taken the action of actually bringing that into reality, you've not taken that action yet, then you won't be able to know what comes next after that. And that will only open up for you once you take this action that you initially got guided to do. So walk through whatever you're going to walk through. And this is why mindfulness is so essential, because when you're leaning now on your higher guidance, when you're leaning on your angels or God or source to help you through this, it's easier for you to push past those barriers. But as long as you're trying to figure things out on your own, it might take a long time for you to get past that initial resistance, okay? So I'm just sharing this just to advise you. And I love to hear from you. So comment down below on first of all, what are you working on this month? I've shared mine. And that's a way for like you to hold yourself accountable, and for anyone else who taps into that to also help hold you accountable. So what are you working on this month? What are your practices for mindfulness? Is it something that you do? Is it something that you struggle with? Is there anything else like you would love for me to share that will help you tap more into that for yourself? If you have any questions for me, comment down below. I love it when people ask me questions because it helps me really connect to my higher guidance and really tap into that universal wisdom. So ask, connect with me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm always open for that. And yeah, I think I'm complete for this live. So I don't think I have anything else I have to share. That's it. Okay, so remember 30% discount on all my services. I'm running this offer until the end of, or not the end, until April 15th. So if you want to jump in on what's soul relevant and point out how these two modalities can actually help you to accelerate your healing and really awaken your authentic self. So don't miss out on this chance, because I don't know if the next time I'm going to be given this kind of offer again. Unless now my higher guidance says like extend this offer, which hasn't happened yet. So don't miss out on this opportunity. I'm going to leave the links to that. Remember, the links I'm leaving to the services down below do not have the 30% reflected on the price. So that is a special payment link I'm going to send to you once you express your interest in whatever service you're interested in. So you can DM me with your request on Facebook or Instagram. And just share, like, I'm interested in a soul element session, and I'll send you whatever you need for that, with also a payment link with the new, with the 30% discount effective in it. And if you're curious about what soul element is, I did promise I was going to share what that is, what soul element and quantum flow are. So soul element is based on working with the Akashic records. It's a modality based on working with the Akashic records. And why it's an amazing, amazing modality is that it helps you connect to your true soul identity, your true authentic self, and awaken your soul gifts for you. Because a lot of people are operating here without actually knowing what their innate gifts are. And based on the society we live in, where we're constantly trained to focus on the outside world to tell us who we are, our parents, our friends, our co-workers, our bosses, and all of that. The internet to tell us who we are and how we're supposed to show up in the world. So many people have lost connection with what makes them unique and special and what their true gifts are. And once you actually tap into that authentic self, you'll find that the way you show up in the world, there's a certain level of acceptance and understanding you'll have with yourself and also with the people around you, because you'll be able to see how different you all are, how unique you all are, and how beautiful the different gifts operate with each other or coexist with each other. Because remember, whatever I'm gifted in, you're probably not gifted in that. And how I show up in the world is not how you're ever going to show up in the world. But if I'm constantly trying to be you because I have this idea of this is what success is supposed to look at, I'm going to be losing connection with self and forgetting to contribute myself or my uniqueness to the world. And the world does need your unique self expression. That's what I do with Soul Element. It's just to connect you back to who you actually are at a soul level, what your soul gifts are, so that you can tap into this and leverage them to create your human experience and how you show up in the world. And the next thing is that it also helps to connect you to a particular soul story. So you might be watching this and maybe you're conflicted about what reincarnation is. And it's okay if you don't believe in it. I do not require you to believe in reincarnation for you to actually experience the benefits of it. What we do with soul alignment is that you get to identify certain mistakes you made in a past life that you're still making currently. A lot of the patterns, experiences, people you've attracted in your life, most of it has nothing to do with your current experience. It's tied to a certain story that you started in a past life that you're still repeating right now. Remember, your soul is here to, first of all, rectify itself, release the karma, because we've picked out a lot of karma based on, if you even look at the world we live in our history, based on the olden ages, there's so many things we used to do then that were not connected to authentic self because we felt like we had no choice. Remember, we're coming from an age where getting excommunicated from church or getting exiled from your community meant death for you. So you had to comply. And a lot of people lost connection with their true self. They had to comply and felt like they had no choice but listen to what they were being told to do, even though it went against who they were on a soul level. So soul relevant is about connecting you back again to your authentic self, helping you realize the mistakes that you made in a past life that you're still repeating right now based on your choices you make on a daily basis. And then kind of like heal all of this on an energetic level, clear all of this, because remember your experiences and the people you attract them because they're a vibrational match to who you are. So with soul alignment, once we clear out these experiences, it means that now energetically, vibrationally, you're no longer a match to those past experiences, but also now with the awareness of who you are and how you're supposed to show up in the world, now you get to bring awareness to how you interact with the world and how you show up. It kind of like gives you that permission to just be yourself and be okay with that. Okay. So if you're curious about this again, take advantage of the 30% discount that I'm having until April 15th, 2024. I don't know when you're going to be tuning in. So check out the links down below and connect with me on Facebook or Instagram if you have more questions. You can also book a discovery call with me and ask any questions you have with me. The second modality I do work with is called quantum flow. So I love quantum flow. I keep falling in love with it because literally I do this. I've been doing this practice. I won't say daily, right? But I do it so frequently. And on the times that I'm actually able to do it consistently, for like a month or two, I literally wake up and I'm a whole new person. Remember when I said like going live on YouTube is something I will never have thought of my entire life, which is something that I thought of in 2022 when I started my channel, and I wasn't ready for that. And for some reason now, it's not even a big deal. There's a reason for that because I've done a lot of releasing of old patterns that made me feel like I wasn't good enough to do this. And I've only been able to do that with quantum flow. So what quantum flow does is that there's a lot of old patterns, old wounds, old trauma that's really stuck within our nervous system. So what happens is that some of these patterns are even patterns that we've picked up unconsciously from our own parents, who also picked up the patterns from their own parents, right? So it's constantly, all of this is within your system, and it interferes with how you show up in the world. And remember, like right now, especially with the world we live in, where there is like you're constantly being bombarded by negativity from all over. If it's not the news, it's your boss, it's something. A lot of people are stuck in those negative emotions, which do affect your nervous system and affect your unconscious mind, your mental, your emotional, your physical well-being. All of that is affected and correlated to your nervous system. So what quantum flow does is that it breaks down all these old patterns, which actually form crystallizations within your body. So it breaks them down and gets the energy flowing again within your particular energy center within your body. And once that's happening and you're releasing, constantly releasing the old wounds and old patterns, now, because now you're getting to create a new reality for yourself, you're creating a new identity for yourself. How you show up in the world, it's going to be completely different. I cannot even explain the magic of this because trust me, quantum flow has accelerated my healing. It's like 10x for me, everything. Because a lot of people get stuck on just working on their mindset. So I'm just gonna meditate, and which works. I'm 100% believer in mindfulness and meditation and all those practices. But if you want to 10x that, quantum flow is it for you. Because honestly, when I tell you where I was even a year ago, even a couple of months ago, because where I am right now is not even where I was, like the kind of mindset I have right now is probably not where I was in January. And the things I'm even doing right now are not things I would ever thought I'd be willing to do. But it's because I've constantly been working on myself, releasing all those patterns that do not belong to me. And I only do that through quantum flow. So if you're ready to tap into higher states of being with your physical, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, one thing it also has also done is help me clear the path so that I'm really able to tune into my higher self clearly. That's the other magic or the result of doing quantum flow constantly. So if anything I've shared in this video has inspired you and you want to experience that magic for yourself, check out, book a session with me down below. Again, take advantage of the 30% discount that I'm running until April 15th. Book a session, get to experience yourself, because trust me, magic is going to happen. Or in case maybe you want to say, like, I want to have a feel of what that is, you can check out. I do have a meditation down below based on that quantum flow methodology that will help you have a feel of what quantum flow is. I've gotten great feedback from this, okay? So you can tap into that and get to experience that. And then now you can actually gauge for yourself. Oh, and the meditation is actually free. So you can check out the meditation and start experiencing those states for yourself. Because trust me, you will notice a shift within you. And if at all you want to go deeper, because that's just like the meditation is just a little bit of a taste of what quantum flow is. If you want to go deeper with it, right? Again, go ahead and book a full session with me. If you have more questions, you can ask me on Facebook, Instagram, or book a discovery call with me and ask any questions you have of me. Okay, so I feel complete. I don't have anything else to share. I've been talking for almost, wow, that's almost a whole hour, literally. Oh, thank you so much for anyone who tunes in to watch this video later on. Sending you so much love, and I hope that I will see you on the next time I'm live. Okay, so I will share my what comes up for me with the new radical approach I'm taking to stillness and just taking a break from anything, any kind of experience with the outside world. I'm going to see what comes out of that. It's an experiment I'm running for myself. And I'm going to share my results for that, hopefully in the next live. Okay, so we'll see. Okay, so sending you so much love, and for now.